Darius Cooper. Darius Cooper's a undrafted rookie free agent for the Eagles. He's out of Tarleton State. He's a smaller receiver, I'd say. He's a 5'11". I think he's like 205 pounds. But he had a solid career at Tarleton State. His last year, he had almost 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns. Now, obviously, Tarleton State, where do they play? And I'm sure they don't have a lot of big competition. I would agree with that, but that's 1,500 yards anywhere. I'd say is a really solid year for a wide receiver. But in this game, he had 6 catches for 82 yards and 1 touchdown. And the interesting aspect to this, and to me, and the reason why I'm talking about Darius Cooper is because he got 6 catches. He had 6 catches. Like, it's not like this was just like a fluke play, or he happened to beat one man and get scored an 82-yard touchdown. There was a whole body of work that went into this game. Again, 6 catches is a lot for a preseason game. Again, I talked about Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter had 2 catches. Tet McMillan had 2 catches, another rookie receiver. I'll talk about another rookie receiver after this, but that shows that they continuously looked for him, right? The Eagles had Darius Cooper as someone that they knew they could trust, because they threw him the ball 6 times. The touchdown catch he had was for 20 yards. You're right. This was in the second quarter from Tanner McKee. This wasn't like garbage time, right? This was in the second quarter. So that says a lot about where they really see Darius Cooper. Again, from I would say a depth chart perspective, he has a much tougher road than someone on the Titans. I talked about the Titans depth chart, but Darius Cooper's got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Jahan Dotson, I wouldn't necessarily say is someone that he can't compete with, right? But, that's who's slated as the top 3 wide receivers for them. And, behind, ahead of him is another rookie wide receiver that I'm going to talk about that also had a good game in the preseason, right? So he's got some players ahead of him that are competition, and he's going to have to prove himself to really lock up a spot on this Philadelphia Eagles team. Again, they are a pretty deep team at a lot of different positions, so it's not a given that Darius Cooper is going to make this team, right? I mean, he's an undrafted rookie free agent. That they don't make teams all the time. That is not even close to being a given. But I can tell you that everyone in Philadelphia is talking about Darius Cooper, trying to figure out who he is and trying to see if they can buy his jersey. Again, to kind of talk about the full body of work, he caught 4 balls for first downs to go along with that touchdown catch. So that's production right there. That is impacting the team from a positive perspective. So I really see Darius Cooper as being like that undrafted guy that the Eagles fans could really fall in love with. And I'm really excited to see what he does in the second week of the preseason. I think this is a guy that, again, has a shot at making this team as an undrafted rookie, and that doesn't happen all the time. We're staying in Philadelphia for this next player, and again, I've kind of already mentioned the fact that there was another Philadelphia Eagles receiver, rookie receiver, I should say, that performed at a pretty high level, and that would be Johnny Wilson, who was a 6th-round pick for the Eagles. He was out of Florida State. And Johnny Wilson, first off, is a huge dude, right? Johnny Wilson's like 6'6", 6'7", right? He is a big-bodied receiver, and what I'll say is he knows how to use his size well. He used his body to get himself open. He's one of those guys that I can see if he were able to develop trust with Jalen Hurts at quarterback, it's one of those guys where, like, even when he's not open, he's open because he's just so big. And in this game, he showed he has pretty good hands for these jump balls. He had 3 catches for 73 yards. Again, all 3 of those catches were for first downs. They were, hey, Johnny, go up and get it sort of plays. And, again, he showed that he was able to go up and get those jump balls in the NFL. I've seen a lot of big-bodied receivers in the NFL, and they don't always play big, right? I've even seen small receivers play big, right? Like a player that comes to mind immediately is like Steve Smith, right? Legend out of Carolina. Steve Smith was a small receiver, but that guy played like he was 6'5", 250 pounds. But Johnny Wilson is actually like 6'6", and he's like 230 pounds, somewhere around there, right? He's a big-bodied receiver. And so for me, again, this is another option that the Eagles have in order to say, hey, look, guess what, Jalen? We've got more weapons for you to be able to pass the ball to. They did win the Super Bowl last year, but a lot of people kind of forget. There was a period of time where this passing offense struggled. A.J. Brown wasn't happy, right? Devontae Smith wasn't getting the ball all the time. And they were really focusing and utilizing the run the most, and were depending on the run the most for their success. They were able to figure it out going into the playoffs and obviously winning the Super Bowl. But having a guy like a Johnny Wilson, who, again, is a very specific type of player, right? He's not a weapon that you find everywhere. Not every roster has a Johnny Wilson. He's someone that the Eagles could use and game plan around. Say, hey, this is a guy we can put in 4 or 5 plays a game where we know, like, hey, if we need someone to go up and get the ball, Johnny Wilson can be that guy. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, tell me your takes. This is Bad Takes from Bad Takes in Football, signing out.